A new generation takes flight.
Wind is the clean energy source for our generation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our time, this is our generation, Generation Wind.
We are all here at WINDPOWER 2016 to learn about the industry, but AWIA wants to learn from you. Hi everyone, I'm Kimberly Bottom for WINDPOWER TV.
And I'm Ed Highland. We want you to stop by the booth and share your American wind power story and find out how that story is going to help the future of the wind industry. The opening session for WINDPOWER 2016 was more than a presentation. It was a call to rally and continue the push for wind energy by working together.
We need all 88,000 employees in this industry to tell their stories. To tell their stories in the communities that host our projects. To tell their stories to political leaders. To tell their stories to young people throughout the country.
Achieving the goal of doubling wind power production in the U.S. by 2030 will also take committed partners. AWIA honored innovators like Google for outstanding contributions to wind energy.
We are an off-taker and we are an investor, but really it's the tenacious developers and the innovative technologists that are going to drive this forward. So thanks for all the hard work, keep it up, and look forward to working with everybody here in the future.
And Next Era Energy with its Outstanding Commercial Achievement Award.
Our success and yours is based on our ability to develop good projects that help our customer meet their energy needs. We've been very fortunate over the years to have many customers like Google place their trust in us.
AWIA attendees were also encouraged by success in states like California, where President and CEO Steve Berberick of the California ISO vowed to reach 50% renewables by 2030.
I think it shows a model of you take a large economy, can you actually decarbonize the economy? And in California, we're showing the world that yes, you can.
The next generations are well represented at WINDPOWER 2016. A dozen schools are competing in the collegiate wind competition. Well, over here in Kid Wind, there are schools from as far away as Australia. The goal is simple: build the most efficient wind turbine, and the mechanics of proving on the technology are a challenge. The reward is a chance to pitch your business plan to a group of mock investors.
This proof of concept turbine is tested such that we get power performance, braking mechanisms, and overall durability of the turbine, and see how the functionality of that turbine works.
They put in so much time, so much background information, engineers on their teams, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, they've got business folks with their business plans. They are bringing to us a package that gives me hope for the future, I tell you what.
The competition may have been even more intense among these younger students. More than 30 teams are here from around the globe, with up to $10,000 in cash and prizes up for grabs.
We kind of went around trying to up the gear ratio in this. We didn't really think about how fast it was. This is our first time going to nationals, so it's very big thing for us in our school.
The exhibit hall was bustling Tuesday. Thousands of attendees from all parts of the industry got to experience thought-leading ideas and technology.
We see what the new opportunities are going to be, new projects to invest in, but also to manage our portfolio. Again, we're looking at the long-term trends and how projects will be maintained and improved.
There was so much new technology this year, we had to go outside the convention center walls. These massive cranes and a heavy haul system were in the parking lot right next door, and they gave attendees a real-world, hands-on experience with equipment they would see in the field.
New this year at WINDPOWER was education right on the show floor, and the idea was a hit. Education stations were packed with people. At this session in the operations station, safety and cost were the big topics. There are a lot of new workers entering the wind industry, particularly in O&M, so ideas for proper training were presented by a panel of experts. They also explored ways to drive down costs and stay competitive.
I was interested to find out that they do not closely stick to OEM components, but are willing to look at other engineered components And as well, I'm quite interested in finding out that they have distribution centers that are localized towards where the farms are.
Across the exhibit floor at the power station, AWEA members got a glimpse into the crystal ball of the industry's future. A panel of top experts shared their views on the direction and challenges that lie ahead.
It's very important that we're putting a strategy around it, and we're bringing all the vendors, the OEMs, and the energy producers along, to kind of increase the capacity and be able to provide the supply that's needed for the demand.
A dynamic discussion took place in the Thought Leader Theater on evolving market forces that influence how power will be purchased in the future. Panelists said the goal is to productize wind energy for consumers.
3.5 gigawatts were signed into PPAs last year through CNI. So I think if you're not looking in the CNI sector right now for offtake agreements, then you're probably looking in the wrong spot.
Leaders in the wind industry gave their visions for the future during Tuesday's general session. They shared their thoughts on what needs to be done over the next several years to maintain wind as a sustainable and economic option for energy.
It's cost. It is cost, it's cost. Everybody's figuring out a different twist on a logistics solution, whatever. We have to do it all to get the cost down.
We have to figure out a smarter way to build transmission and to plan for transmission in a different light. We've got to start using it as a development tool.
And I think we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to really develop our workforce, to be able to train new people to come into the industry, to be able so that they can do their job safely.
There is still plenty to experience at WindPower 2016, but we're already looking ahead to next year.
WindPower 2017 is in Anaheim, California, so get ahead of the game and reserve your exhibit space today. For WindPower TV, I'm Kimberly Bottom.
And I'm Ed Highland. Thanks for joining us.
The value sentient brings is to tell you the mechanical system will break down before it happens.
We need to be able to see what the sensors can't see, and by doing that, keep their microstructure from ever propagating the failure, so we solve the failure before it happens.
It allows operators to kind of look forward and see when components are likely to fail, and it allows them the opportunity to plan in advance for either replacing those components or to take actions that can extend the life of those components.
If we're able to plan and know that that bearing or that gear or component was towards the end of their life, and we could plan to swap that out, they could make up for that downtime.
With sentient science, you can create a digital clone model and test hundreds of units computationally in a matter of days, identify the weak links, and even evaluate upgrade options for those weak links. In the end, you have a better engineered product that's delivered quicker.
That's really what differentiates ourselves. We take into account a lot of the factors that aren't necessarily considered rigorously in the traditional lifing approaches.
The value of the dashboards within Digital Clone Live is really to provide information for the customers at any level within the organization so they can react and make the proper decision going forward.
Not everyone will use digital clone or surrogate models in the cloud, but the ones that do, it will resolve a lot of their problems, will make their lives easier, will extend their assets that are out there in the field. Sentient will change the world in different ways, where we will not maintain or touch physical engines anymore so often, because now we can do that through a computer.
I'm joined now by Susan Williams-Sloan, who is the Vice President for State Policy for AWEA. Susan, good to see you once again this year. Tell us a little bit about the meeting. We're talking about facts, and instead of fact-finding, you're fact-sharing.
That's right. We are working on state policy and reaching out to state policy officials. Here at WindPower, we had a few air quality state officials, as well as utility regulators. We also had some grid operators come, and it's just great to have them come see the show floor, really meet the industry, see what kind of a thriving industry we have, and also make sure that they're aware of wind as a low-cost solution to providing energy, as well as providing a carbon-free future, helpful in meeting any any future environmental regulations, but also is a really important part of building the economic development and the strong economic future for their states.
With WINDPOWER on such a roll right now, can you give us an idea of maybe why there's still so many misconceptions out there? It seems like almost from state to state there are different ideas, different conceptions, and different ideas about how to proceed and whether they should proceed.
Well, I think that's a loaded question. There are so many different reasons why people are not well educated about wind. One is that wind has evolved so rapidly, dropping in price by 2/3 over the last 6 years. Who does that? That is, it's remarkable, and it's something where we've got to go out and educate the state officials as to what is the reality of wind today. Same thing with the grid operators. They were here talking about wind getting up to 50% of the penetration level for last weekend in California. In ERCOT, in SPP, those numbers are in the high 40s. They're looking at it getting to 50 or 60%, but they're already integrating a lot of wind into their systems, and it's important to make sure that state regulators and state legislators know what's going on.
It's good to bring jobs back to Colorado. We all know that manufacturing, factory jobs have been leaving the U.S. for a long time, and to be part of the advanced manufacturing, they call it the renaissance of manufacturing, is a big deal.
So the presence of Vestas in Colorado has been huge. As we opened the factories, we had tens of thousands of applicants for hundreds of jobs when we initially opened, and today we've got just a little over 4,000 folks in total working in the state of Colorado, gainfully employed, and everybody's excited about not only the wind business, but also working for Vestas.
Before starting at Vestas, I was actually a manufacturing supervisor for newspaper production. The company I was working for outsourced their production, and I was laid off. So when I was looking for a job, I found Vestas.
We have employees from all over, many different skill sets. We've got guys who used to work on airplanes, oil workers, all kinds of pretty hands-on kind of guys.
We attract a lot of veterans, and some of it's due to the fact of kind of the background. It's a pretty good fit for a lot of guys that come out of, or even are still in the reserves. It's a pretty good fit for them, and they're pretty comfortable in terms of the daily discipline that we require in our manufacturing lines. So it's a very good fit for them, and obviously we accommodate, especially if they're still in the reserves and need time to go serve our great country, then we'll accommodate that as well.
At Vestas, there's lots of room for growth. I started here as an entry-level worker, and now I'm in charge of 80 employees. It's just an expanding company, even within the factory, within the industry. There's just lots of room for growth.
If you're struggling with something, someone will be right there to pick you up and help you out. It makes me feel good to be a part of something like this, to be a part of something that's always thriving to be, or for something better. So it makes me feel good.
I think it's a cool coincidence that, yeah, the wind is, you know, a renewable energy, and we are harnessing the wind when we kite. Obviously, we're out there for recreation. They're out there creating this clean energy for us. It is a seamless parallel between kiting and what the wind farms are doing.
The gorge is an interesting area of the country. It has one of the more unique wind regimes in the whole country. The main driver of this flow is the interaction with the inland temperatures and the sea temperatures. And the upper atmosphere will drive wind speeds, and we're able to capture that and turn it into energy with our wind farms that are operating out in the gorge today.
The wind farm was really incredible. It was something that I didn't think we were going to get to do, and we're one of the few people in the entire gorge area that has gotten to do that.
We got an amazing tour of their facilities and got to learn a lot about wind energy and the business of wind.
The really cool thing with wind technology is the efficiency improvements. Typically, you couldn't have done that in the past because the wind resource just wasn't quite high enough to support good production.
When we got there, I didn't think I would be nervous at all, and there's 4 platforms in between each 60 feet. And it doesn't look that high in between each platform when you're inside this tube. But when I was actually starting to climb up, I started getting really nervous, and you start looking down, you're like, oh man, and my arms were like shaking and getting tired. But when we finally made it out of the top, I mean, you're so high up there and you can just see the whole expanse of the gorge, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And just something that not very many people get to do. I absolutely loved it.
It's important for me to be a part of Generation Wind because I think this is the time where we have the power to make a difference in our future. I want my child to grow up in a world where we rely more on wind energy, on renewable forms of energy, where we are doing less harm to the environment, and we have the power, the education, and the tools to accomplish this.